What's going on, everybody? Back again for a little video for you. Hey, we're getting ready for the Elite Series Bassmaster here on the St. John's here in Florida, and I'm sitting here in my boat, and I'm obviously rigging up everything for tomorrow is the first day. And so we're gonna drop this video while you're watching this video. While it drops, I'm out fishing on the river, hopefully jacking up a big bag. And so just to give you a quick little update, first of all, travel vlog is already up. After this video, which you're watching right now, will be the practice video, which will then drop, and then of course the tournament video. So we got lots of cool stuff going on, but this video is part of the St. John's River SMC series. So, you know, I was thinking, like, what could we do it on, right? Okay, as I'm rigging up all this tackle and I'm looking at all these baits, I'm like, you know what? Here's what I'm thinking. Top 3 baits for February. That's pretty simple, right? But it's gonna be my top baits for February in Florida. We've got Scott Canterberry, he's over there rigging up some tackle for himself. And I thought, hey, Canterberry, join me on this video, and I want you to tell the viewers top 3 baits for Alabama. So you're getting kind of like a southern version, top 3 baits in February, and a Alabama northern, totally different water conditions video tip. So pretty cool, I think, pretty cool. So guys, do me a huge favor and drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think of this little video series. And also, drop some questions in there. We will go through those questions and answer as many of them as we can. So hopefully you guys are gonna love this little fishing series, little tip here. You'll get some tips from Canterberry and from myself. So let's jump right into it. This will be quick and easy. Quick and easy tips. We're not gonna get too deep into it. We're gonna do it right here, okay? So my top 3 baits for February. So the first bait is the Googan Squad Hound. I like a white one a lot, especially with a little bit of orange. There's something about orange, right? I don't know what it is. I guess the bluegill in the area. Orange just makes bass bite in the spring. It just does. This little bait right here is perfect. It's got a little feather on it. And what I'm gonna do with this bait is I'm gonna throw it on, in Florida, again, this is the tip for Florida, I'm gonna throw it on braid a lot. Now, I will put like a P-line leader. I'll go 50-pound P-line X braid to like a 20-pound monofilament leader, maybe a foot long, so that way the braid doesn't drift into the hooks if I'm gonna work it real slow. And that kind of keeps everything good and straight. But this little bait right here, guys, here's when you're gonna wanna throw this. In and around the full moon, when that water temperature starts to rise and you feel like those bass are up on the beds or getting ready to spawn and those big females are maybe gonna get up there, start throwing this around and those big girls will bite this thing. And it's amazing how the males won't bite it, but the females in the area will crush it, okay? So again, #1 bait right there, a top water lure in February for the Florida lakes during the spawn. That is very good. Now, let's move on to lure #2, Googan Squad Click Bait. Basically a chatterbait, guys, okay? I throw this bait a lot. This is kind of a new bait. I don't have a lot of experience with the clickbait. It just came out, but I have caught some nice fish on it in some of the lakes around here. But you know, you just can't go wrong. Here's a traditional chatterbait, real similar in size, real similar in action, of course, but this clickbait is good. So that is a #2 bait, and here's why. These type of baits, you can throw them in a lot of places, and they will produce, again, a big bite. So the water temperature is starting to warm up again. Those females get up around. You can run this thing down by the pad stalks, down by the reed clumps, get it down in the hydrilla beds, and really catch a lot of fish. In Florida, for me, I like rigging this up on 50-pound P-line X braid, straight braid for me. Now, when I'm throwing a chatterbait or a clickbait, say maybe up there where Canterberry would be throwing one, I would throw it most of the time on a fluorocarbon line, just because you want a little stretch. You don't lose as many fish. But here in Florida, with all the heavy cover around, you need that straight braid to get those fish out. Now here's the biggest tip I can give you on any of these style baits, a chatterbait, a clickbait, any of these bladed jigs, right? Here's the tip. It's fish it slow to medium, right? Don't burn it, right? I see people sometimes, they throw chatterbaits out there and they're just reeling them too fast, high in the water column, and those fish just don't bite them as well. I like to slow it down, like literally just get it down there where you're hitting something, right? Whether you're hitting bottom every once in a while, whether you're hitting the top of the grass every once in a while, and you're just kind of make 2 things. #1, it gets it down in the strike zone, but #2, as it hits things, it changes that profile, it changes that sound in the water, and those fish will react to it very well. So the Googan Squad Clickbait is pretty good. Now, trailer-wise, pretty simple. I'm just gonna match it up with a swim bait or a white crawdad, you know, anything like that. I like a crawdad a lot of times if I'm trying to keep that bait from getting snagged up, and I like a swim bait a lot of times if I'm making long casts and slow rolling it back through the hydrilla. So that is number 2 choice right there. Pretty good little setup. Now, number 3 bait for February. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out there. Do not go fishing in Florida in February without a pack of, I'm just telling you, without a pack of these. They work, okay? Look, this bait right here has made me a lot of money in tournaments. Bassmaster Open last year, I jacked up a lot of fish, and that's the whole reason I'm sitting here today getting ready to fish on the Elite. This bait right here caught a lot of extra fish for me this last year. It's a big deal. Now, why do I like a creature bait or a bandito bug in February? Because again, in February, these fish are spawning. So basically, if you kind of go back, right? We're looking for those females coming in, right? We're swimming stuff by the beds, some of those bigger fish that are around that are getting ready to feed up. Now, when things kind of lock down, right, and they're not hitting top water, they're not chasing chatterbaits, they're all getting ready to spawn, they're all, love is in the air, you know what I'm saying? That's when I start flipping this around to every little piece of structure I can find, whether it's a reed patch, a lily pad patch, a dock pylon, anything. And I'm gonna kind of focus in probably 4 foot or less for the most part. During the spawn in Florida, especially if you're on a lake that doesn't have a lot of real good clarity, 4 foot is kind of your maximum depth. You're gonna get way more activity in 4 foot or less during the spawn in Florida. So how do I like to rig this up, guys? Here we go, right here. Standard rig. This is a 7 foot, 7-inch, big sexy favorite rod. It's a flipping stick. This is a 5/16 weight. I have it pegged. And my favorite hook in the world. You know what I'm saying? This is the TK 130. The 135 I use for flipping heavy mats. The 130 I use it for what we're gonna be doing, pitching it around lily pad stems and reed patches and all that good stuff. 17 to 20 pound P-line. This is tactical, fluorocarbon, is what I like to flip with when I'm flipping the pads. I just get a lot of bites. If the pressure, there's a lot of pressure, right? If there's a, like tomorrow, if I pull into an area, there's just a lot of boats in the area, just everybody's going back and forth, I'm gonna start going a little lighter on my line, so I might go to 17. But I'm gonna start off with 20. If there's nobody around, 20 all day. And that's just the way it's gonna go. So guys, I failed to mention the rod sizes and actions for the previous 2 lures, number 1 and number 2. With the top water, with this dude right here, I'm gonna throw like a 7 foot medium heavy rod, right? I like the 6 stick, gets the job done. It's a light action rod. I can put a lot of action in the lure. It's just a good all-around rod, okay? So that 7 foot medium heavy is great for top waters. Now, when I'm going to a bladed jig, I'm gonna step it up just a little bit. I'm gonna go to the 7.3 Rush series, my favorite. It's a heavy action rod, but it's kind of like an all-purpose. I mean, I literally, like I have them rigged up right now. I'm gonna throw a little stick bait on this one here. That's a 7.3. I have another bladed jig right here, rigged up on a 7.3. I'm gonna put, you know, a bigger spinner bait on a 7.3. 7.3 is kind of like an all-purpose rod. So I love that rod, to be honest. It's my favorite rod. Okay, you get the point. But anyways, those are my top 3 baits for February. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna just kind of toss it over to old Canterberry. He's over there in his boat, rigging up some tackle, getting ready, and we'll throw it to him. So Canterberry, show him the good stuff.
Hey guys, Scott Canterberry. We're taking over now. We're moving north. We're gonna be in Alabama, and we're talking about 3 baits that I would really choose to throw in February. You know, we got a huge diversity of lakes up in Alabama, and there's so many different ways to fish. But one thing you're gonna see a lot of is red. If I'm fishing in February, the water's cold, I'm gonna be throwing red. Fish are not thinking about spawning in Alabama in February. All right, guys, you know, every lake I go to, I don't leave home without my lipless crankbaits. Whether it be grass lake, a rock lake, it doesn't matter. River system, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna have my lipless crankbaits. And you can see, I've got a huge assortment, guys, huge assortment. 3/4 ounce baits, a lot of reds, 1/2 ounce, a lot of reds, and I've got a little bit of everything. You know, we got these 3/4 baits, 1 knockers, we got rattling baits, all different type of rattles. The sound makes a big difference. Anytime you're fishing a grass lake where you can get out in 6 or 8 foot and you got grass such as the Tennessee River, Gunnersville somewhere, those 3/4 ounce baits come into play big time. Get on a warming trend, fish are a little shallower, the 1/2 ounce baits are super good as well. And then, you know, a lot of fish are a lot shallower than people actually think in February. And I like throwing these 1/2 ounce size baits that are a 1/4 ounce. This is a Bagley minus lipless bait, and this is a 1/2 ounce size, 1/4 ounce. It runs like a 1/4 ounce, but it's a 1/2 ounce size. Guys, it casts like a 1/2 ounce, but it's real slow fall. And anytime I'm fishing in less than 3 foot of water, that would be my choice. When you're fishing these lipless crankbaits, if I'm on a grass lake, Tennessee River, anything like that, and I'm ripping it out of hydrilla, you know, I've done it with everything. My favorite is probably P-Line Tactical Fluorocarbon 15-pound test. I use a 7.3 medium heavy rod or a X medium heavy, something with it's parabolic, so when you do hook a fish, it plays them really good, but it's got enough tip that you can rip that bait out of grass. You know, if you're fishing more on the Coosa River or any of these rocky impoundments that we have, Smith Lake or Lake Martin, anywhere, and you're running the backs of pockets with these 1/2 ounce or smaller lipless baits, you know, I use a fluorocarbon as well, but I'll go down to a 12-pound, and I use a little bit softer rod, 7 foot, plenty good, and you just want to throw that on a 6.3 to 1 reel, something sort of slow. You can throw it on a high speed, but you really got to catch yourself slowing down. If you burn this bait, you keep it up in the water column, and the fish aren't going to react to it in the wintertime. When that water's cold, you want to be contacting the bottom, bouncing it off a cover. That anytime it deflects off of something is when you're going to get most of your bites. So you just slow it down, try to get it down in the cover, whether it be rocks, wood, or grass, and you're going to come out a lot more successful. Bait number 2. I have a super good assortment. Bagley Pro Sunny Bees bait. This is a balsa bait, casts like a dream. You can run pretty good size hooks on it. It's a real tight action. That's key in the wintertime. Guys always threw shad wraps and stuff and caught lots of big fish because of that tight action. It probably caught more fish in the wintertime than any other bait that's ever been made. Well, they were super hard to cast. So we've worked really hard to get that tight action on a bigger bait that's easy to cast, and you can run big hooks on it. You know, I love fishing these baits on, you know, 7 foot cranking rod. I use my Canterberry series from Halo. I throw it on 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon, tactical fluorocarbon from P-Line, and depending on the depth that I'm wanting to hit. What I'm gonna focus on when I'm cranking is transition areas. Anywhere that you're going from a steep, bluffy style bank and you're transitioning into a flat bank where their fish are gonna be moving back to spawn. That's a big, big player. Anytime you can find those transition areas, that's a pattern you can run in February. Fish are moving back to get ready to spawn. They're not spawning, they're staged up. And guys, you can catch a lot of big females this time of year running those transitions with that Bagley Pro Sunny Bee. You wanna fish this bait a little bit slow. You don't wanna be burning it and running super fast. You wanna slow down. Throw a 6.5 to 1, reel 6.3 to 1, something like that. I use the Ardent Grand 6.3 to 1s. Love them. And like I said, that P-Line Tactical Fluorocarbon, Bagley Pro Sunny Bee, tight wiggling balsa crankbaits that float up. Keep it slow and you'll have a lot of fun. Bait number 3, guys. If we do this all year, you're gonna see this bait a lot. Something that I never leave home without, and I always have it tied on. You know, it's a jig. I fish a jig anywhere I go, but in Alabama in February, you know, I'm gonna be fishing, I usually fish a darker color jig. This is the new Canterberry Compact Series flipping jig. Super good in the wintertime, super good all the time on pressured lakes, but it's a lot smaller, compact size, smaller hook if you want a smaller profile. You know, if I can get away with it, I use a 1/2 ounce Canterberry flipping jig. It's just a bigger profile of the same bait. And one thing that I do in the wintertime is mess with my trailers, because, you know, I'm a big guy that believes in action in a jig. I like to impart my own action sometimes, and sometimes I like a net bait pocket chunk, which has a lot of action on it. In the wintertime, water's cold, we're in February in Alabama, I've been doing a net bait dagger a lot. That's a full-size dagger, threaded up on a jig. The bait just glides a little bit. It goes in and out of cover really well. Profile's awesome. If you're using a compact jig, you can cut that bait down a little bit, and you got the same action, same glide, everything. It's just a smaller profile. The other things that I would use, especially on that compact series, is the Pocket Slim, 3.5 inch Pocket Slims. This bait here, I won Beaver Lake a couple years ago, and that was in the springtime. Fish were transitioning. Awesome little bitty compact trailer. You know, I'm gonna fish a jig, you're gonna see it all year long. I believe in a 7.6 rod. If I'm using that compact series, I go to a 7.3, and you know, I use Canterberry series from Halo most of the time. It's a 7.5 flipping rod for a big jig. You use the 7.3 rods for that compact flipping jig. Wintertime, it can be a lot of variations. You got to go by watercolor. If we got a lot of watercolor and we've had some rain and I'm fishing really shallow with a big jig, it's going to be 20-pound tactical fluorocarbon just about all the time. If we're fishing a rocky impoundment, Lake Martin, Smith Lake, somewhere like that, I'm going to step down to 12 or 15, because I'm going to be fishing this jig in brush piles then. Where most people are throwing shaky heads with worms on them, in February I'm going to be casting a jig to those brush piles. I'm going to be looking for the bigger than average fish. We're looking for that female wanting a meal. So I'm going to be casting these jigs in those brush piles. I'm going to be flipping this jig on docks, any kind of cover I can find. If I'm at Gunnersville, where there's a lot of vegetation, I'm going to be flipping that jig around clumps of milfoil, clumps of hydrilla. But anytime I can get bit on a jig, I'm going to be using it, because it catches bigger than average fish. And that's a Dirty Jig, Scott Canterberry Signature Series Dirty Jigs.
All right, so guys, that is a wrap. Hopefully you enjoyed those tips. We're going to continue to do this little series throughout the rest of the year. I think that's good. So we'll add some other people into the mix occasionally. So, hey, hopefully these tips will help you catch some more fish, bigger fish, and all that good stuff. So do me a huge solid, guys, before you totally disappear off this video, is do a little sharing for me. Share the video out to some people and drop some comments down below as well. And thanks for all the support, guys. We will see you later. Bam!